Bomb in Detroit sparked more than flames this morning.
That's right. It sparked revenge in one neighborhood. They're tired of drugs, dealers, and fast cars. And so neighbors finally decided to storm this house on Waldo Street. They say it's been the hub of illegal activity for more than 3 years, and police hadn't been able to do anything to stop it. So today, they stopped it. They destroyed the house. Here's how one participant described the scene.
And it's just tired of it. Everybody around here. The neighborhood got together, about 250 of us, and we storm busted.
Apparently a firebombing is what triggered today's house bashing. Neighbors say the garage behind the house was targeted because of a drug deal gone bad, and the problem occurred when the fire then spread to the neighbors' houses. And they said enough was enough and took action. Police have no one yet in custody. Another man apparently
did not respond to their complaints.
Nothing. We don't even see them around. So we had to do something, had to be done, and I'm glad what they did. It happened.
Dope fiends, prostitutes hanging out here. Last night they came over, burnt down 2 or 3 of the garages. So this morning a tornado came through and took out the rest of the house.
Well, neighbors tell Action News they've been complaining about drug activity at the home for more than 3 years. Frank?
Tonight, a Detroit woman is celebrating Mother's Day.
Incidents involve both fire and vandalism. The two houses are located close to each other in southwest Detroit. News 4's Bob Bennett has been gathering facts on these cases. He joins us now with a live report. Bob?
Well, Rich, I'm standing right now here in front of this, well, I guess you can no longer call it a home. It was once a home on Waldo Street, the 7300 block of Waldo Street here on the southwest side. This took place yesterday morning, early Sunday morning. Apparently someone deliberately set fire to the garage and back. The fire spread to some other garages and adjoining properties. Firemen came and put it out, and when the firemen left, neighbors came out, took some pickaxes, some sledgehammers, some crowbars, and this is what is left of the house. Now, this is on Waldo Street. Early this morning, shortly after 4 o'clock, there was a second fire a short distance away, a distance of about 10 blocks, maybe I should say, just north of here on Florida Street. That was a vacant house that neighbors said had been used as a crack pad. Someone came and set it on fire. It not only burned, but set fire to 2 adjoining houses that were occupied. Luckily, everyone got out okay. Getting back here to this Waldo Street affair, we have with us a young man who lives here, Raymond. You've been living here for a long time. Just what was going on in this house?
Well, for about the last 3 years, there had a lot of activity, drugs, prostitution. These hookers would come from Michigan Avenue, would come walking over here, selling, buying, whatever, bringing their customers with them to buy the drugs. And they had a lot of car traffic coming in or stopping in, getting what they wanted to coming out. Well, after the fires happened and the 2 garages burned next to them, people just got fed up. I mean, enough is enough. Unfortunately, it got to the point where somebody lost property, but as you can see, they did something about it. They're tired of it, we're fed up with this stuff, and we approve of the people who did this.
All right, let me put you on the spot a bit. Would you have taken part in this, the destruction of this alleged drug pad?
I wish I was here for it. I wish I could have seen it. Golly, when I got back, it was all the fun was over. The party was over, but I did come back and take some pictures, so.
All right. Thank you, Raymond, a resident of Waldo Street, and that's the way a lot of people feel on this block, at least. And police have been out here this morning. They have confirmed one thing. They did find some drug paraphernalia inside of what was left of this house. Rich, Ruth?
Bob, let me ask you whether police have indicated that they intend to make arrests if they can find the people who are responsible.
Well, it's going to be rather difficult. Of course, they're looking for whoever set the fires and did this, but that's going to be difficult, as I said, because they believe the fires were set not by the neighbors, but by rival drug gangs. This house on Florida Street has been vacant for some time. Early this morning, someone set it on fire. Neighbors say it had been used by dealers selling crack cocaine.
This is the 3rd time it's gone up, and 2nd time my house has been damaged and the house next door because of the same house. People setting it on fire.
What happened here this morning is not new. It's just another example of people fed up with a slow bureaucratic system taking matters into their own hands.
I wanted a picture of so I could, show it was a dope house. Yeah.
Yesterday, it was another southwest side house, this time on Waldo Street. Someone firebombed the garage behind the house. The blaze spread to another garage. After firemen left, witnesses say neighbors wielding axes, crowbars, and sledgehammers began wrecking the place. It was allegedly a den for drugs and prostitution.
Yesterday afternoon, 1 o'clock,
A tornado came through and took out the rest of the house.
What kind of tornado? A human tornado?
They call it a drug-free tornado.
Generally speaking, there was applause for the action.
Definitely approve of it, because since drugs is available and our kids live around here, and I think these families have to worry about their children.
Do you think they were right in tearing it down the way they did?
Oh, well, I know we couldn't get nothing done about it. I know, you know, I mean, that's not my way of working, but, you know, we couldn't get the police to do nothing.
I'm glad it's down, to tell you the truth. No more drug dealers coming up and down the street or walking by and stuff, all that. I'm glad it's over.
Police say they found the remains of drug paraphernalia in the yard and in the house, but some are critical. Do you approve of what they did?
No. I think, you know, it should have been handled by authorities or, you know, because we have no right to do. The neighbors had no right, you know.
It's a catch-22 situation. The drug pad on Florida Street is gutted, but the homes on both sides of it were so badly damaged, the occupants must move, leaving them vacant. Police are investigating both incidents. Bob Bennett on the Newsbeat.
The Newsbeat checked just a few minutes ago.
The city says there is no money to tear down all these homes right away. On Florida Street on the city's southwest side, a suspected crack house burned last night. And as Channel 7 Cheryl Choden reports, innocent people were victims.
And my aunt's like, the house is on fire, get out. We come out here, and she was already out because I had to go and put my clothes on and all. And she was already out crying and everything. My house, my house.
Bob Holmes says if it wasn't for the barking of the family dog, they might not be alive today. His house and another 2 doors down set ablaze early this morning after the 3rd fire in about 3 months at a suspected crack house.
Well, they've been, I guess, dealing dope there, when, you know, before they got it burned down. And they burned it down this 3rd time.
It was, we expected it. The house should have come down a long time ago.
The house was slated for demolition, but a lack of city funding held up the process. While everyone in the neighborhood would be glad to see the house gone, they don't believe anyone who lives on the street started the fire.
I really don't think anybody would burn it down just to get rid of it. You know, I think it was just a prank, just kids playing, or we'll never know.
That apparently was not the case this weekend. Just a few blocks away were neighbors on Waldo Street all but admitted they took the law in their own hands to get rid of another suspected drug house where prostitutes reportedly turned their tricks.
We haven't had no help from the police for 3 years.
So the neighborhood had to do it themselves?
Yeah. Whoever did it, to them.
These kinds of houses are the source of frustration and anger to the people who live near them. Some just can't take it anymore.
The first bedroom window is my kids' bedroom windows. I have a daughter 10 and a son 5.5, and they're both terrified. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Neighbors on both sides say this was too close for comfort. They don't know when this house will be torn down, and for now they are moving out. On Detroit's southwest side, I'm Cheryl Choden, Channel 7 Action News reporting.
Detroit. They wouldn't have had to destroy a suspected drug house on their block. Channel 7's Shelley Smith is in the neighborhood right now. She has more for us in this live report. Shelley?
Doris, you only have to look behind me to see that this neighborhood is fed up. The neighbors claim that the tenant of this house is a drug dealer. They say his daughter is a hooker, and that this illicit activity went on in front of the children who live on this block. They contacted police repeatedly, got no response, and so yesterday they took the law into their own hands and even left behind a few signs just in case the tenant didn't get the message. The neighbors asked us not to use their names.
We haven't had no help from the police for 3 years.
So the neighborhood had to do it themselves?
Yeah. Whoever did it, to them.
The residents of Waldo Street are cheering tonight. For the past 3 years, they say this house has been a hotbed of crime. Crack, heroin, prostitution. Any vice you want, they say you could find it here. But yesterday, neighbors shut it down.
They blew the garage up the night before around 5 in the morning. Yesterday, everybody started gathering, and around 1 o'clock, 1:30, they just started tearing the house down.
The Detroit police weren't called. Neighbors say they've complained too many times to no avail. Today, the police showed up to piece together the story.
Well, I got some utility bills. That helps a little bit.
Yeah.
I found some here. This is definitely drug paraphernalia. Got the crack pipe, eh?
The Detroit police admit there was a narcotics report filed on this house, but they say that's one of 100 alleged crack houses in the area. As for the prostitution that was operating out of here, they say that's a low priority in a tight budget year. In April, 300 Detroit police officers were laid off. Their lack of response has prompted many residents to take the law into their own hands. Last month, this alleged crack house was torched in Brightmoor. 2 neighbors were charged with arson and are awaiting trial. This suspected crack house on Florida Street was lit this morning. The residents aren't claiming responsibility, but they're happy to see it go.
Eyesore over yonder. Yeah, ain't no good like that. Kids get killed in there.
The police told me that in order to shut down a crack house, they have to make a buy from that house. In order to make the charge stick, the prosecutor says he wants 3 buys. And I want to point out that we are in no way advocating vigilantism, but these people in this neighborhood thought that they didn't have any choice. Reporting live from Detroit's South Side, I'm Shelley Smith.
All right, thank you, Shelley.